Afternoon, everyone. Hope your day is going fantastically. I know mine is. Doing lots of restructuring. Let me turn this down. Being busy. Sort of getting the Not a Mask website all geared up for what's to come, because shit's hitting the fan, kids, and it's not good. Of course, today I want to do a bit of a tribute to Rosa Koire, the woman who inspired me to be doing what I do here every single day. Brings a tear to my eye, so I'm going to have to interrupt here as people come in. But Rosa was the one that made me make the commitment to get up here every day and teach everybody about the agreement that was going to change the world, in which we have been reset to the goals of. When I was introduced to her, I was already into it, and I've learned over the years in my career in natural foods, organics, hemp, on the ground floor in the health food stores. That's where I first heard about Agenda 21. Now, of course, Agenda 2030 didn't come. You didn't hear it spoken of until about 2015, 16. Right? Because that's when they signed, was 2015. But Rosa was at this way before anybody else. Long before me. She came out with a book called Beyond the Green Mask. And that was, well, the tell-all of our future. Now, the problem, with Rosa, and even being as far back as she was, you see, it's interesting because when she was getting out there, I was actually in my magazine business, which was Organic Lifestyles. So I was out there talking up all of this green madness that I didn't learn about until after. I didn't realize that I was pushing a myth, and I didn't realize it would eventually end up as, well, what we're dealing with right now, interestingly enough. Of course, I am getting a few people sort of trying to pop on, but for some reason, as usual, they're blocking the hell out of me. Trying to do it on my other computer here so I can see what's happening and then actually jump into the comments. Here we are. Okay, cool. Okay, now I can see a few people. Geez, it's so frustrating. Before I get into Rosa, because that's, I've got a little bit of a setup for that, I want to talk about, another one who's bitten the dust, and that's Juan Mansour. A lot of us appreciated his presence here. And, he's gone. As of yesterday, he did a live, and then all of a sudden he disappeared. Hi, Stephanie. How are you? You're the only one I can see there. In any case, Juan, you see, it's you hear of these people going, and then sometimes they're on your friend feed, but you don't really know them. I kind of did know Juan. I talked to him several times over this journey, and, well, the man's all heart. He certainly is. He's true blue, and he really gave a shit about all of you out there. In any case, he's no longer with us on FB. Hopefully he'll reemerge soon. We keep our fingers crossed, but this is where we realize that we don't have any contact with all these people, other than Messenger. He hadn't gravitated to Telegram yet, although I had pushed him a couple of times to do that. But again, it's each platform is it's difficult to maintain them all. There's a lot to do. Like, honestly, guys, I'm at this like day and night. I pretty much don't stop creating the content, you know, trying to keep up in the news, trying to figure out how I'm going to deliver my message to all of you so that, you know, again, I speak to a lot of the converted, but I also need to be speaking to the ones that are understanding there's something really wrong here, but they just need that window opened. And I want to kick it through. In any case, I'm creating a lot of content with Not a Mask. And again, that's going to be a home for a lot of content because I need to be more incognito here, and I need to weave it in the information into the brand, because as censorship continues to boot me out, like no one being able to see this on their screen right now. Out of the 5,000 people, right? And every week it gets worse. And this is how it's going to go. Now, it's funny because here in Canada, we're dealing with Bill C-10. And they're talking about, you know, how that's going to lead to this censorship that they're already doing right now. It's hilarious. They're doing it now, but they're talking about how it's going to be, you know, it's futuristic. No, we're being tapped out big time. And again, platforms literally chopped off at the knees like Juan's yesterday. You get a following, you put all of this work into these platforms, and literally we get no help, right? They shove us to the back of the bus, they shadow ban, they never recommend on YouTube. I mean, the list goes on. But we hang in there and we keep doing it, because you know that if they're doing that to you, your information must be valid. So their censorship tells me that, well, it tells me when I'm right on the right track, for sure. So that's encouraging. I thank them for the journey of teaching me patience, because I've never been a patient person in my life. But I'm learning it, for sure. I've gone through all of these trips of apathy and going, why am I doing this? And then I get a ban, and they don't outright ban me very often, but when they did do it, it was over a study on the physiological, psychological, and societal issues with the mask. And all I did was, you know, quoted the conclusion that was from the clinical study, and I got a 3-day ban for that. Now, funny enough, at the time I sent it to Juan, and he got it up on his platform, no problemo. And there it sat, and it was fine. But we have to know what he was talking about the last few days, right? He was talking about the magnetics. And he was coming out pretty hard since, well, a week and a half ago. And especially since that happened, he was coming out double time and talking about it and inspiring others to thinking about it. And he was getting everybody's wheels turning. And of course, I saw a few of his following actually following up with that magnetics, and it was happening. He was inspiring the conversation, and then bye-bye. Juan, ciao for now. No, I'm sure he'll be back. We hope. But again, this is how they do it. And they wipe out that amazing following. But also, it's interesting, he was talking about, according to someone I asked yesterday, and they said that he was also talking about the spiritual disconnect of the... Now, I talked about that a couple weeks ago, and I'll tell you when I was kind of going, ooh, here we go. Testy. Now, Juan, as I said, he's been able to push the envelope with his following quite a bit, because he's got a wonderful vibe, and again, he speaks to your heart, right? That conversation, see, you have to know if he went after that, it had something to do with that. They don't want you to know that, for sure. And this is exactly what I'm absolutely fearful of. And again, fearful of it for people, because I've already seen that level of, you know, again, that gut being knocked out through GMO foods. Empathy goes with that gut bacteria that, again, preserves us with instinct that has been bestowed on us from the divine, I believe. It's what barriers us, alerts us to danger. And again, that's literally being wiped out. In any case, pretty crazy, guys. You just don't know what to say, because the natural gravitation for so many people is like, well, you should go to this platform. And it's like, no, you can't just keep going to these other platforms, because the idea, even with Bill C-10, is the fact that we won't have it. Like, we won't be able to say it. It won't matter what platform we're on. Like, what they're proposing here is sort of, again, the same way they would sell it in China to promote your content and all of that. No, it's to ensure legally, in a legal framework, that they're doing what they're doing right now to us. It's just going to be all legal after this. They've been doing it for quite some time. In any case, I think it's time to get back to our little tribute today, because I was hoping more people would join in, but again, making it difficult. So I'll put this all on YouTube for later, and YouTube. I do both. I have 550 subscribers on YouTube. On YouTube, I'd rather promote there, but I don't have that many subscribers, and I'm not really getting shared there as much as I am on YouTube. I'm not getting shared there unless it's from the people actually watching it. I know that the notification bell no longer works for so many people, and again, I hear all of this. So if you've got content you want to keep up with, you really have to, stick in there and go to my timeline to take a look. And again, I'm going to be doing less and less in the terms of opinion coming up, because again, I'm going to have to be careful on Facebook to maintain my presence, because as they twist the screws here, again, our free speech is going to be delineated further and further. And again, you risk losing the platform. And again, my message needs as much exposure. So, if I have 4 platforms that I can see dick bone on, or have to be totally creative through my little videos, I'm having fun with those, by the way, of teaching you again what's going on, trying to put my message forth a little bit more creatively and intuitively, psychologically, than the simple writing it out. Because again, you'll notice that I'm quoting a lot now. Again, opinion is going to be a difficult thing coming up, especially mine. In any case, let's get over to Rosa Koire. Now, I found a little article. Somebody had already written it, so I'm just going to kind of cruise down the article and tell you a little bit about it. Rosa Koire says Agenda 21 is the blueprint, the action plan to inventory and control all land, all water, all energy, all information, and all human needs in the world. It is a comprehensive plan. Unquote from her. What is unsustainable? Agenda 21 posits is the middle-class lifestyle of owning property, a yard, and cars is not sustainable. Life in the suburbs and rural areas is unsustainable because it produces too many greenhouse gas emissions, Koire says, emulating the argument for dense urban planning. It is the kind of thing that makes you sound crazy when you talk about it, she says. Well, it is crazy, but we aren't. The fact that the bankers are going to this much trouble to enslave us gives us hope that they are not planning to kill us in an orchestrated nuclear war. But the bottom line is that we are being distracted from the big picture. Our minds have been trivialized. We are incapable of recognizing the danger in which we find ourselves. We are complicit in our own destruction. I have to agree with that. Rosa Koire is a beacon of light in very dark times. I will be watching all of her videos, ordering her book, and joining her organization. Now, of course, this was we need to establish city, town, and state if we are to stop the the enslavement. Now, this is from, of course, another writer, and you know, I used to think that too, and I wish that's where we were, but we're so far ahead of where people think we are. But I think Rosa got that. Now, interestingly enough, she passed away on May 30th of cancer, lung cancer. It wasn't announced until June 5th. But I thought I would take you through some quotes of her. And then I found a video that and one of her last published works before she passed away. This was in December, where she's telling us what to do and what we should be thinking of. And that's, well, just about 6 months ago. In any case, let's talk. This is quotes from Rosa Koire. Community-oriented policing under the Department of Justice will encourage, if not require, people to watch their neighbors and report suspicious activity. More activity will be identified as crime, such as obesity, smoking, drinking, when you have a drinking problem, name-calling, leaving lights on, neglect in someone's perception of children, elderly, and pets, driving when you could drive a bike, breaking a curfew, and failure to do mandatory volunteering. The community will demand more law enforcement to restore order. The more rules and regulations will ensue. The lines between government and non-governmental groups will blur more and more as unelected local groups make policy decisions using the Delphi technique to manufacture consensus. The Chinese and Russian models are instructive in what you can expect under communitarianism. Read Nin Cheng's Life and Death in Shanghai and Alexander Solzhenitsyn's The Gulag Archipelago for real-world examples. The War on Terror is a communitarian plan designed to terrorize you. Wow, huh? That's pretty graphic. Here's another quote. The key to know about this, that of course you have no input. Only comments and observations that support the pre-approved plan will be supported. All others will be written on a big pad of paper and discarded later. The illusion of public buy-in is all they needed. The organizers can later point to the fact that they've held a public meeting, a certain number of residents have attended, public comment was taken, and the community approved the plan. The facilitator is often the private consultant who had been professionally trained in running and managing a meeting. The consultant had been hired by your city to fulfill the requirement that the project had been seen and supported by its citizens. It's your plan. See, this is how they're doing it. They're saying that this is all public consensus. They are actually making, and throughout Canada right now, what's happening with each smart city is they're making it look like your project. So Rosa Koire was really the person, she covered property rights. That was her thing. And when I decided to jump into it, I kind of wanted to compliment her. And so I didn't really go into that so much. Because she had it pretty covered with lots of videos and lots of information out there, and of course a book. So I wanted to kind of tail into some of the other aspects, and that's where I really got focused on vaccination and got focused on, of course, the geoengineering, solar radiation management, again, biotech in general. So again, I was trying to hit on different angles than she was. Now, I thought it was great. She passed away on your birthday, Bruno. Another reason to connect to her story. Of course, of course. Yeah, it's sad. You know, I started doing my videos super hard in January of 2020. And I didn't really see her out there too much till around June. And then she sort of got out there for a bit. And then, of course, cancer took her life. So she was really getting out there again, and of course was taken by her affliction. I had a lot of people saying, you know, do you think, you know, it was more or induced cancer or anything like that. And yeah, I think it's perfectly possible. I do. She was powerhouse. And for the first time, like this great reset is to the goals of Agenda 2030. And see, it was really easy to shadow ban little old me and shove me into the corner. But with her, she's a little bit louder. And she would have alerted even the Democrats to, again, what is occurring. And that is being flipped into gear of Agenda 2030. All her work before said Agenda 21. And again, these agendas, as I've said before, you know, when they called it Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030, they did that for a reason. So that, you know, you would be a conspiracy theorist if you were talking about it. I discovered that when I first came out talking about all of, you know, again, the UN plan in which Canada has a plan. And they were calling me a conspiracy theorist here in Saskatchewan. It's like, this is your government's plan. And of course, Rosa's been contending with that for years and years longer than me. In any case, her work is worthy. And I thought when I found this, again, it was one of her last works. And well, I thought it was just perfect for us to watch today. It's 6 minutes. But again, she's telling us what we need to do right now. And this is her take. Here she is. Oh, let me turn it up before we get going there. All right.
Hi, I'm Rosa Koire. I'm the author of Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21. And my website is democratsagainstUNagenda21.com. Right now, I'd like to talk about what you can do. I get hundreds, literally hundreds of emails from people, cards and letters, asking me, what can we do now? Things are really coming down. What are we supposed to do now? And I want you to know, first of all, that nobody's going to rescue you, and nobody's going to come on a white horse to take care of you and protect you. It's up to you.
Don't trust the plan.
You're going to be feeling a lot of panic, a lot of fear. There's certainly plenty of information out there now. You really know everything. I would say that it's not like I have to tell you to wake up. You're awake. You get it. You see it. Okay, so now the thing is not to become like a deer in the headlights, freaking out and going, I don't know what to do. What can I do? Okay, there's a lot you can do, and I want you to start with this. I have said a lot of times now that during World War II, if you were German, you know, you think to yourself, oh, I'm a German, okay. Am I going to wake up in the morning and put on a Nazi uniform? And everybody, all of you say, absolutely not. I would have been in the resistance. Okay, so I want you to know, the resistance is not something you join, it's what you are. Now, that's a nice little slogan that I came up with, and it's true, but what does it really mean? What does that mean to really be the resistance? What is that? So here's how you're going to tell if you're the resistance or not, all right? I'm going to give you a little scenario, and I watched this, it's about a month or two ago on YouTube. Woman sitting in the bleachers at her son's Little League game, and she's surrounded by her family members, and they're all social distancing, isolating themselves socially from everyone else in the stands, and everyone else is, you know, doing the same thing. And her husband and other people around her have masks on, but she does not have a mask on. So here comes the security guard up the stands, walks up to her, and he says, presumably, hey, you got to put a mask on, and she says no. They go back and forth. He says yes, she says no a few times, and then he tases her. This is at a Little League game. A security guard tases the woman, drags her out of the stands, okay? Well, yeah, we got to see it because somebody was brave enough to hold their phone up and video it while it was going on. What upset me about this was that nobody did anything to stop this man. No one stood up, no one ran to her assistance, no one blocked this guy, no one said, hey, put that taser down or we're going to, you know, take care of you, right? Nobody did that. And, okay, so this is really where it really comes down. What is the resistance? So I want you, after you listen to me, if you would please, go into a quiet, dark room with your chair. Sit in that room, close your eyes, and think to yourself, what would I do in that situation? the stands, what would I do? What will I do when that happens? What would I do? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bam! Here comes the security guard up the stands. What are you going to do? Now you need to ask yourself, and you need to think about this, okay? You need to prepare, because it's not going to happen like that. It's going to be some entirely different thing. You're going to be out to dinner in your suit with your wife and kids. You're going to be with your husband in the grocery store. You're going to be by yourself in the post office. You're going to be walking down the street, crossing the street with your child in your hand. What are you going to do when this moment comes up? Because it will. It will. It is coming up right now. Now, if you're like everyone else, you are feeling a degree of panic and fear right now, just generally. You've been locked in your house with a rag over your face, told not to say anything. You're seeing people that you listen to, that you respect on different platforms be removed by corporations that have joined with government to silence you. Okay, this is what you're watching now. You're seeing this before your eyes. You're worried about food security. You're worried about whether your money's going to be worth anything. You're worried about, your security of your home. I'll tell you one thing. Talking about preppers and security, those people out there in Montana don't want you. Part of what they're prepping against is you coming out there when you realize, hey man, things are bad, save me. Nobody's going to save you. The thing to do right now is to stop it while you still can, okay? That's what you need to do. Stop it while you still can. So there you are, you're in your room, you're envisioning this. Now this is important. Take that time. You may be the person who says, well, I guess I would have gotten up in the morning and put on a Nazi uniform because I'm not going to do anything. Well, then you know that about yourself. Or you run a bunch of scenarios and you get ready and you think to yourself, okay, because when it happens, you will have to act or you will regret it for the rest of your life. You will have regret and it will not come back. That moment won't come back again. So this is it. You owe it to yourself to know who you are. I'm not telling you to be a patriot or a resistance fighter or a freedom fighter or an individual or somebody who cares about yourself and other people. I'm not telling you that. I'm asking you to know who you are. Know who you are. And that will tell you what the next steps are. I don't have to tell you or guide you. You will know. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, who are you, right? This is what's actually coming down. Who are we? I can tell you, when I did the group, No Mask Saskatchewan, again, I put on protests. I tried to arrange them, and, we had a lot of members throughout the province, but what I learned was that we were scattered about, and there was no resistance. It was a lot of bullshit talk. A lot of people out there saying, yeah, I won't do this and I won't do that. But when it came down to it, honestly, why I came up with the solution, part of it, to the mask, even though I was against it, was that I didn't have the support. Because again, everybody talked a big game. But when it came down to action, they weren't willing to do much. And I think it's important to take Rosa's advice and figure out where you're at. Because again, I don't see enough of a resistance here. I don't, to what's coming down. And we have to be cognitive. Now, she wasn't even going on about the vaccine and all of that at the time. She's talking about, well, the goals of what's to come. Because we've all been reset to the goals of Agenda 2030, whether they want to acknowledge it in the United States or not. Every policy, every order Biden has passed has, again, been to that end. Now, it's a little confusing because then you go to Florida and you've got DeSantis down there and, he's ensuring no vaccine passport. He is doing what a governor would seemingly be doing in the interest of his citizens, and it seems to look good for the moment. I know a few people from Florida as well. Life is pretty normal there right now. I know a nurse, he's not planning to get the vaccine. No. You know, it's interesting too. I just got off Messenger. Buddy, who's a nurse in Florida, is also a surfer in El Salvador, and he went down. No quarantine in El Salvador. Nope, just flew right in. Got surfing. No quarantine when he goes home. Here we are in Canada, getting put through it. And you got to know, again, I see people looking to the United States for hope. We're not on their program here in Canada. And Rosa was talking from an American perspective. And so again, there are states that are further in. It's so hard to understand what's going on there because again, the red states are doing it a little different. And the governors are seemingly being governors. Where here in Canada, the politicians have no power. Public health has all the power right now. They're nothing but puppets. Dancing around, putting on a show for us, the clown show. Doug Ford already said it. No one is going against this because this is like, well, to me, it's like an occupation. It's a World Health Organization imposed, like dictators from abroad imposing their way on us. Going backwards. It's bad. It's when people flee countries. And it doesn't look like it's going to get better because right now, before our very eyes, we're seeing the establishment of two, again, classes of citizens. Ones that will have privileges. If you won't get this experiment, you will be denied regularly scheduled programming for everybody else. And of course, that will push people to do something that they otherwise wouldn't. And again, why would you take an experiment? But you know what? Living life is more important to a lot of people. They want to travel. Or, you know what? They're in a couple and one wants to do it and the other one doesn't. But one wants to travel and the other one doesn't want to get divorced. Again, all of these social pressures pushing people to going against their better judgment just to live life. We've never been charged with something like that before. But again, I don't feel allegiance to a country that would be doing that to its citizens for any reason. You're immunocompromised, you have cancer. I mean, all sorts of things can prohibit you from taking the experiment, as it might interfere with your, again, regularly scheduled treatments. They have no idea how all that's going to play out. So that means that they have to be, well, pretty much housebound. Is that part of the plan? At the end of the day, right? To punish people who are immunocompromised, who, again, for years they got us to talk about our weaknesses. I knew when they got to the mental health part a few years ago, I was like, no, you never announce your mental health to anyone publicly. But they got you all talking about it. You know, got you talking about what drugs you're on and all of this. And it's like, no. That's stuff they use against you at a later date. Especially if you're like what they're calling a vaccine denier. I'm not a denier. I already did it. I bought the t-shirt and it not only didn't fit, it hurt me. So I'm not going for, another go at it. And that's two different vaccine times in my life. So I kind of got it twice. So I understand about it. I went through it with my dad. So again, I have my own visual. I, again, collected my own personal experiences and information. And then for years talking to people that have had similar incidences. And it's way more rampant than anybody ever would imagine because, well, the doctors don't acknowledge. Simple. And now, do you think they're going to acknowledge? Even with this vaccine injury fund that they've constructed? No. You have to get it past the doctor first. And if that doctor will not call it, and most of them won't, they won't. It's paperwork. It's all sorts of rigmarole. So again, they're not going to do that unless it's insisted upon. The fact that people think that they're actually going to get enough out of that, and again, that Bell's palsy. There was one woman last week, with her face like telling you how worth it was to get it. And I'm like, are these people brainwashed? Obviously brainwashed, because I'm sorry, your face stuck like this, taking one for the team for a virus that has a 99.9% recovery rate is ridiculous. Again, children being pushed to this. Do you think they're going to be so happy if they end up like this? Jeez. None of it makes any sense. I don't understand how people can go along with all of it. But they will shame the hell out of you and say you're selfish for not getting the jab. Well, that's why I just blocked them. Tammy, for sure. Bye-bye. I wouldn't even entertain a conversation with someone like that. It's called block and walk away. Because again, anyone who would tell you that, it was funny because with the mask, they were going on and on how selfish I was. But I have asthma. I can't breathe in a mask. No. Yesterday, I'm walking along the street and there is this young man and his son. And the poor kid put the mask down. Because he was I don't know, 2, he was just walking, kind of hobbling along. And he had it down under his nose and his dad kept trying to pull it out outside. And the kid just finally pulled it right down. I'm like, yeah, see, a child, a baby even knows how detrimental it is. It's instinctual. I just smiled at the kid and went, good one. They are going to shame the hell out of us. And the thing is, again, it's all built into the program. It is the very same program, Tammy, that it was with the mask, that nothing is going to be different than this. And then they're going to send in the trolls. You have to understand there's a lot of propaganda and setups. A lot of people didn't know me when I had no masks asked. So I'm going to tell you a little story about Instagram. When I started the group and we grew really fast, 2 followers on Instagram. Well, we had 4 for no masks. And I was the other 2. And 1 photo of 5 women. And I'd had the account for about 2 weeks. 1 photo of 5 women holding a sign, talking about freedom, 1,500 comments of hate. It was relentless. This went on for 3 months, right? So, BLM, they threw it out to the network. And then they've got all sorts of haters that'll come in for you. And then, of course, there's got to be bots. There's all of that. But that's where a lot of the death threats came from. That was regular. And that's where I learned that if the left threatens and even threatens your life, it's A-okay with Instagram. The only way around it is to block. So you don't even bother reporting. You just, boom, get rid of them, get rid of them. It's crazy. Where are we? I have a bunch of trolls. They are pro with fake accounts. Oh yeah, tons of fake accounts. It's when I had the groups too, whenever I would talk about the control opposition, oh yeah, they would come in for the kill. That's when I had to archive Anti-Maskers Canada, because again, as soon as I get people all riled up, they'd come in and slice me off, pull my account for a couple of days. That kind of thing. And then it can't operate because I was the only one kind of behind it all. I wanted to learn what was going on behind the scenes. And again, who the players are sending materials. I figured out who worked for somebody. Don't know exactly who they worked for, but they were being paid to, again, dispense to those groups. And then what I saw in some of the groups was that some materials, like they were intentionally tagged and they were designed to be taken out. So when that group started that was like, we don't censor, we're a group starting because of the admin censoring. We had no choice but to censor because, again, that would take out our accounts and the entire group. But people would insist on sending them. It would get taken out on my group, but stand on another group. I'd be watching going, well, how is that? Like, okay, it's not okay over here, but it's okay over there. How does that work? Lots of games being played behind the scenes, and a lot of people don't understand that. And again, when you're on a feed that is, again, coming in for the kill, or again, all the propaganda, I mean, we have to, in Canada particularly, like, we had propaganda going on, but it is like I've never seen before. And really wants to hate on us white people. Doesn't like whites. We're the scourges of the earth. 5 Muslim people were murdered in Ontario, and they have, insisted it's a hate crime. When the accused, unfortunately, he wasn't affiliated with any groups. He had no criminal convictions. They won't name who the people were that were murdered. Apparently it was a family, and it is sad and tragic. It absolutely is. But is it a hate crime? Or are they taking advantage of it and using it to feed a narrative? And what really angers me the most is this is third world stuff being transplanted. See, in Canada here, you know what? Life's been pretty blissful comparatively to other nations. It truly has. We do not have the track record of the United States at all. We do not have the guns of the United States, although that's changing. It is, particularly in the big cities with gangs. Yes. The landscape's changing because there's a lot more people coming from other places in which this sort of behavior goes down. They try to make whites being the terrorists. Like they're trying to, again, inject terrorism into being white and conservative. It's tragic. But it's happening. I can't believe it is. Because I've been doing a lot of research about South Africa and, again, the whites that are being murdered, hacked up, hunted like animals. It's disgusting what's going on there. And the media won't cover it because, it's blacks against whites. Now, of course, with Asian hate, in Canada, they're positioning it to be whites hating on Asians. Now, they don't say, but is that really happening? How much is happening? Because in the United States, what I do know is that it's blacks on Asian hate. It's not white on Asian hate. What I found even more insulting to Canadians was the fact that, the funeral, all rules are off for the Muslim funeral for 5 people. Yet every other Canadian for the past year has had conditions on their loved ones' funerals and even being denied to be part of it, being family and friends. Yet here we go. Again, it was like the BLM protest where all the rules were off for that too. That was at the end of June. Across Canada, nobody got a ticket there, and those were massive protests during a public health emergency. Yet, here we are in Regina, these tiny little freedom protests. They are down there with a cop car for everybody. It's crazy. They've got 10 people down there. It's really quite a joke. And of course, the cops are all down there. But in the meantime, the Palestine protest is at the ledge. It's like they negotiated the freedom people to go over to downtown, and so that they could open it up for the protests that the state wants seen. And the Palestinian is A-OK. And apparently had quite a few people. Not a ticket. No, because, see, that was a protest that was A-okay with the government of Saskatchewan, the police, with everybody. But those pesky little freedom people downtown demanding their rights and the lifting of a public health emergency, wow, yeah. It's nuts. It's nuts. It's like we're living in the third world. And this is what I keep saying. In order to meet these Agenda 2030 goals, they have to pull us backwards to meet the third world in the middle. That's what's going on here. Trudeau said in the past that he wanted this so-called white Christian country to be done with. Yes, for sure. We have a problem with Black Israelites. We have to speak in code. Oh God, yes, do we? Oh, you see, maybe that's why they come in for the kill. You know, the thing is, the BLM movement here had to be created because it wasn't here before the protests, before the rollout, because it was a marketing rollout. But this is where we're at. Again, making it up. Now here in Regina, we have a 2% Black population. I find it interesting because if BLM was so great, why, you know, they revere the football players here and most of them are Black. So I don't see them at the BLM protest. I think life's okay here for them. Again, 2% of Saskatchewan's population is Black. We don't have a major population of really anybody but whites. I mean, really, whites are like 75, 80%. Sorry, that's who lives here. And we're being made to feel bad for being white. And how dare they not try to fissure us being proud of who we are. They're trying to destroy us. It's disgusting. Makes me ill. Staged events, yes, Bruno, that's what's going on. Biden says white supremacy, biggest threat. Yes, it's the same old line. And again, it's all, you know, who does that serve? See, this is what we have to think about. Who does the narrative serve? That we are the scourges of the earth. No. The infiltrators. The occupiers. Who are the occupiers? You know who, right? Who is beholden to China. I'll say it. I'm on a Y-way. I can't get away with it. I'm on TikTok too, so they've got my number. Well, they've always had my number, but this is the bottom line. That's whose interest this all is. Now, I understood when I started doing my ads against the World Health Organization, and, well, I was getting threats in the name of Allah. And those were dismembered bodies and, you know, kind of grossness. But again, so I saw the working together of, again, Islam and China too, in the threats back to me for going after who. I'm learning all of this again through experience and again what comes my way after, and it's been a bit of a journey, which was important. This is why I did the groups and I didn't have any other help moderating or admins. I did it all myself so I could learn what the hell was going on. It was education. But what I do know is that they are intent on making us the scourges of our own country. And we have to stop that in its tracks. We do. Let me, you know what, I'm going to try to get the comments over here on my other computer because it is stopping me. There we go. Makes me sad and pissed off at the same time. Where is my privilege? I want it now because my mom always told me that nothing was free and you have to work for everything you get. Well, this is it. Again, the privilege. What privilege are you speaking of? Number one, I've taken EI for a month. Once. I'm 53 years old. I felt bad the whole time doing it too, even though I paid into it. And then I became an entrepreneur and I got nothing. And I was okay with that. Zero zip nada, nothing. I've never, again, where's the privilege? The privilege that they're speaking of is really that we believe we have rights and that we demand them because we've had them our whole lives. And what they want us to do is to take crumbs like they always have. It's their governments imposing, again, these third world dictators imposing their will in our free country, in our first world country. Third world dictators. That's what's going on here because they're the only ones who would do it. Well, of course, they've all participated in this plan to literally enslave the world to this agreement, UN Agenda 2030, and again, Agenda 21, as Rosa Koire so eloquently put forth to us for many, many years. You know, the saddest thing about Rosa was the fact that, you know, she spoke to the Heritage Foundation, again, conservative, even though she was Democrats against Agenda 21, the people that were supporting her were the conservatives. And isn't that weird that you had to be conservative to buy into understanding this message? Because this is, again, showing that the Democrats, just like the conservatives here in Canada, are for this global plan. Of course, they all are. 192 nations signed on in 1992 to this vision. And this is why, excuse me, this is why we have not been made aware of this agreement prior to any of our elections. They've withheld the information. Even the anti-globalist, Maxime Bernier, he never mentions it. They don't. Because they still want to play ball. They want to have a political life. So instead of telling us what's really going on and actually taking up a fight, they wither away and cower. Like the pussies they are. They are. None of them have any balls. They want longevity. They want their political future. There's no heart in it. It's just a matter of process, a bunch of acting. Sad. It is. And I think what makes it, you know, like on Twitter and all of these feeds, if it was genuine at least, you know, maybe there'd be something to it. But the more I've learned, this is just all put on. And again, everybody just posturing and pretending because no one's going to go against it. And anyone who speaks out too much is going to have their platform pulled. It's just how it's going right now. Did we ever think this was going to happen in the West? Because honestly, it's like a third world plot to take us down. A communist plot to take us down. That's what's going on. They're all playing us in a sick play. I see it so fake. Yes, it is. Again, you know, I've had people defend nurses and all of that, and I just go, you know, don't even bother. Defend teachers? I'm sorry, they're in there. I know teachers that actually walked away when all of this came down, and I have the most respect for them because they couldn't watch it go down. They wouldn't participate. You know who you are. I talked to one woman I talk to probably every couple of Fridays. We've been meeting up, and I've known her for years, and she was just an assistant. She was an assistant in a school, EI, and she was like, I can't do that. I won't do that. No. Participating in, again, watching these kids get muzzled. It's disgusting. I don't know how anybody can do it, but here we are. It's a wild thing. It's wild. Wild to be alive. In any case, what I'll do later is I'm going to put a bunch of Rosa Koire's works into the feed if you don't know who she is. And again, you know, she coming from a U.S. perspective, but this plan is international. Again, it's just going to go down differently in every region. But she was the expert on the property rights, okay, and how that's all going to happen. And again, development and how the smart cities will emerge. So she was really again, talking about all this 15 years ago. And now, of course, we're here. What's exciting for me right now, and it's exciting because, now the real world examples are starting to drop and we can start seeing what this plan is looking like. And again, we can already see that a 99% vaccination is a goal of Agenda 2030. And as you can see, the pressure cooker is on. So again, believe it. It is, again, everything in that agreement, we're being reset to achieve it. And that's how it's going down. Rest in peace, Rosa Koire. And I am honored to carry on your work. And I'm going to do that. Juan, hope to see you soon. Come back, my friend. Every time, and he was, he really was getting some legs out there, and he was showing up a couple of times a day, and he was building, and again, bye-bye. We're going to have to find new homes, independent homes. I'm going to be on Black Sheep Media tomorrow. I'll put it in my feed and in my stories what time I'm going to be on there. I think we're doing it around 7 p.m. I can't remember. I better look. With Carl. But we're going to be talking about what's going on and, catch up. Of course, he's in Quebec. So I'm thinking it's going to be a really great little discussion. What I'll do is I'll share it as it gets going on the live. I'll share it through my feed. And again, I'll put it in my stories what time I'm going to be doing that and in the feed. And if you're on Telegram, I'll have it over there. If you're not over on Telegram, I'm at Unmask the Fear. Of course, my channel on YouTube has about 200 videos. And what I'm doing now is taking these lives and sticking them over there as well. Because a lot of times they stop and flip you off on this feed. It's normal. So I've got it over there too. Again, the links are on Telegram, Instagram. We try to do as much as we can, but again, I need to invest in my own platform rather than going everywhere else. And so that's what I'm doing with Not a Mask, and it's coming along. In any case, everybody, have a wonderful evening. It's looking kind of rainy out there, but I got to get out and about. We will see you tomorrow, hopefully on the live with Carl at Black Sheep Media. And I'll let you know when it is. Have a great night, everybody.